Hello viewers, I'm your host Lipakshi Khurana with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. India has begun flexing her muscles in the tech ring. From Indian stack to digital payments to fintech, from space tech to consumer electronics, from information technology to software support, from building metaverse to transformative use of artificial intelligence, Indian success is evident across all domains. Today, India has entered the realm of digitalization. Equipped with a strong and youthful workforce, innovative ideas, cost efficiency and reliable and efficient government policies, India is poised to grow leaps and bounds in her pursuit of becoming a tech giant. Join us as we discuss India's successful endeavors into the tech market and how she has been able to emerge as a leading participant and contributor across the science disciplines even despite global headwind.
Semiconductors are indispensable and critical components to most forms of modern technology across many industries. Semiconductors are often known as the brain of modern electronics. In this phase of the fourth industrial revolution, India is pushing for growth of the semiconductor industry with the primary objective of becoming self-reliant. The goal is to reduce reliance on imports and establish domestic manufacturing capabilities. The Indian government has announced the reopening of the $10 billion incentive program for semiconductor makers to establish manufacturing bases in India.
प्रधानमंत्री ने 76,000 करोड़ दिए हैं दिसंबर 2021 में और उसका इस पैसे का प्रावधान उन्होंने इसीलिए किया कि भारत एक सेमीकंडक्टर नेशन बने और वो 76,000 करोड़ देश में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कैपेसिटी लाने के लिए, पैकेजिंग कैपेसिटी लाने के लिए, हमारे स्टार्टअप्स डिज़ाइन के दुनिया में आगे बढ़े उसके लिए.
After establishing themselves as a major competitor in sectors such as aviation, automotives, and defense, the Tata Group, one of India's largest conglomerates, has made its entry into the semiconductor market with a $90 billion investment announcement. As the demand of electric vehicles rise, the semiconductor demand will also boom. Tata, being a prominent player in the EV industry, is venturing into semiconductor manufacturing. India's semiconductor market is projected to reach $110 billion by 2030. India's Vedanta and Taiwanese manufacturer Foxconn have invested $19.5 billion in building semiconductor and display production plants in Gujarat.
India will be a large telecom equipment exporter. A very competitive talent pool, good talent pool, about 52,000 semiconductor engineers working in the country. Semiconductor manufacturing will also be affected by the green discourse we have everywhere. So we in India are very clear that whatever new plants, new fabs that we set up will be served with green energy.
While semiconductors are in the spotlight, and while almost every major country is making one or another play in the sector, India is equally focused at other major science disciplines that are also less explored but will hold immense importance in the future. Prime Minister Modi laid the foundation stone of LIGO India, an India-US collaboration for a mega science project in astronomy, which includes the construction, commissioning, and joint state-of-the-art scientific operations. LIGO India will provide a platform to researchers and students in this field. The collaboration has already given the opportunity for dozens of Indian students to work with the LIGO Caltech under the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship, SURF program.
The greatest scientist of the last century, Albert Einstein, had given the theory about gravitational waves. It is a matter of immense pride for all of us that 37 Indian scientists from 9 Indian institutions participated in the International Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, LIGO collaboration and proved this theory correct 3 years ago.
India is ready to make a huge impact in the world of gravitation wave observations. Today's India has moved far beyond the Western stereotype of the land of snake charmers and black magic. Today, she is not only competing with the best, she is in pursuit of becoming the best.
Moving on, the island nation of Sri Lanka is making headways into the recovery and resurgence. The country, which was enduring a debilitating economic crisis until a few months ago, is now assured of attaining a pre-crisis economic trajectory. Colombo says it has both finance and a fiscal plan in place to accelerate the emergence. And the trends are here for everybody to see. Inflation, which was hovering over 70% a few months ago, is almost 3 times lower. Observers say the country is nicely placed to stage a strong comeback, and an active support from allies like India and Japan, along with IMF's bailout program, will act as a force multiplier.
Sri Lanka is making significant strides in its efforts towards recovery post unprecedented crisis it endured in 2022. Sri Lanka's President Ranil Wickremesinghe recently said that his country was making gains at a fast clip. Sri Lanka's year-over-year inflation, which had touched a worrying mark of 69.8% in September 2022, is relatively under control, with the experts projecting a quick recovery in almost all aspects of the country's economy. In what came as a surprise for many, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka recently lowered interest rates for the first time in 3 years. It was a message from the government that it is confident the worst of the country's financial crisis is behind it and that a turnaround in the economy is on the horizon. The government says it is the result of sustained prudent efforts that the island was once again back on track.
වේසීමේ කැපවීමේ සහ ඉලක්කගත නිවැරදි ගමනක් යෑමේ ප්‍රතිඵල අද අප සෑම භුක්ති විඳිනවා. 70%ක් දක්වා ඉහළ නගා තිබුණු උද්දමනය දැන් 25.2ක් දක්වා පහළ වැටිලා. මේ නිසා ජීවන බර ක්‍රමක්‍රමයෙන් සැහැල්ලු වෙමින් පවතිනවා. මුළු මහත් සමාජයටම මේ සහනය දැනෙන්න පටන් අරන් තියෙනවා.
Last year, as the South Asian island nations' foreign exchange reserves depleted, food and energy costs skyrocketed, and protesting mobs forced the country's then president from office, the nation entered a state of crisis. When he assumed control in July, Wickremesinghe negotiated a $2.9 billion rescue from the International Monetary Fund for his country. The country's inflation rate is declining, government revenue is increasing, and the strain on the balance of payments is reducing. By September, the administration hopes to wrap up negotiations to restructure its bilateral debt with foreign nations.
ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ වෙළඳ පිළිවෙත් සකස් වී ඇත්තේ දැඩි ආරක්ෂණවාදී වැටකඩලු ඔස්සේයි. දැන් මේ සියල්ල නිදහස් කිරීමට සුදුසු කාලයයි. බොහෝ පිළිවෙත් සකස් වී ඇත්තේ ආයෝජකයන් අධෛර්යයට පත් කිරීමටයි. උදාසීන කරවීමටයි. මේ තත්ත්වය අප වෙනස් කරනවා. ඒ හරහා ආයෝජකයන්ට ආකර්ශනීය රටක් නිර්මාණය කරනවා.
In order to control inflation, the central bank increased rates by a record 950 basis points last year and by 100 basis points on March 3 of this year. Following a 7.8% decline in GDP last year, the IMF anticipates a 3% decline this year. President Wickremesinghe exuded confidence in his country's growth and said it was on the path of prosperity and will achieve the ambitious target of becoming a developed country by 2048.
2048 සංවර්ධිත රටක්. එයයි අපේ ඉලක්කය. අපේ අරගලය මේ ඉලක්කයට ළඟාවීමයි. අපි එකට එක්ව අපේ අනාගතය ගොඩනංවමු. යහපත් හෙට දවසක් නිර්මාණය කරගනිමු.
As per different analysts, Sri Lanka has successfully dealt with the runaway inflation and it was turning its attention to growth.
Well, the escalating tussle that is developing between Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan and the country's powerful military is causing increasing chaos and unrest by the day. Unfortunately, the past struggle between the Pakistani military machine and politicians and political parties in Pakistan is not a new phenomenon. The Islamic nation is accustomed to its military consistently interfering in political and civilian affairs, most times leading to the toppling of governments and arrest of prime ministers. Cricketer turned politician Imran Khan and his party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, is the latest victim of the military's meddling. Join us as we explore how Pakistan's powerful military has been able to maintain a firm grip on the country's domestic affairs and the uncertainty and unrest that results.
A long-standing truth in Pakistan. The Pakistan military, led by its army, is the boss of the country. Anybody who dares to defy this dynamic or challenge the status quo is on the receiving end of unimaginable consequences. Imran Khan is the one who dared. Expectedly, once referred to as the blue-eyed boy of the army, Khan is made to endure that same army's wrath from every corner. Khan has been embroiled in a feud with the military since he was removed from power last year in a parliamentary vote that Khan claims was orchestrated by the country's top generals, including the current Chief of Army Staff, Asim Munir. The standoff intensified when Khan's supporters were involved in violent protests following his brief arrest on May 9. Military installations, including the residence of the Corps Commander in Lahore and the Army's general headquarters in Rawalpindi, were targeted by protesters. And now, there have emerged demands for Khan to be tried in a military court. Courts that have often been accused by human rights activists of rights violations and extrajudicial killings. Pakistan's Interior Minister recently said in an interview to Pakistan's Dawn News show that Imran Khan should be tried in a military court for his role in the violent protests. International human rights organizations have condemned Pakistan for mishandling this crisis and misusing military powers against civilians. According to the Human Rights Watch, trying civilians before military courts violates Pakistan's obligations under international human rights law to ensure the due process and fair trial rights of criminal suspects. Human Rights Watch said that Pakistan's military courts, which use secret procedures that deny due process rights, should not be used to prosecute civilians, even for crimes against the military. The Carnegie Endowment for International Peace believes that Pakistan's political scene has generally been characterized by one rule. Where Pakistan's army will exist, it carries, and typically persists, no matter the consequences. Imran Khan himself rose to leadership in 2018 with the countenance of the army and was removed from office in 2022 after he lost the backing.
That the army has decided now, after 9th of May, the events that happened on 9th of May, that the project Imran that they had launched many years ago, that is now over. So they will decimate the PTI. Already you can see so many people have been pressurized to leave the PTI. They've all announced they've disassociated themselves. Many have even said they're leaving politics altogether. And they are gradually isolating Imran Khan. And judicially, they will try and ensure that he cannot contest elections, that he gets disqualified from contesting elections.
The Pakistan Army has a history of meddling in the country's internal politics. Pakistan has remained under military dictatorship for a total of 34 years since its creation in 1947.
They have directly ruled for almost half of Pakistan's existence, and rest of the time they pull the strings from the back. They do the political engineering, which party is to come, which candidate is to come, break one candidate from one party, put him into the other party. So this is what Pakistan Army has been doing for the last 70 years.
The economic and political uncertainty in a nuclear power nation has once again given an opportunity to its powerful military to remain dominant. A puppet government led by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is fulfilling the military's task to weaken Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and even help expedite the China-Pakistan economic project. It was alleged that Imran Khan was pushing America's agenda to sabotage Beijing's multi-billion-dollar CPEC project. Imran Khan's immediate future does not seem easy. He recently survived an assassination attempt and is facing over 100 court cases, including terror and sedition charges. His possible trial at a military court would further complicate the situation. Violent civic revolt is anticipated in Pakistan, especially owing to his growing popularity among the masses. The fate of 230 million people in Pakistan is at the mercy of its army, which not only intervenes in the country's internal political affairs, but external matters as well.
And time now for Asia This Week, the stories from across the continent.
Iran reopened officially its embassy in Saudi Arabia's capital Riyadh this week following a deal to re-establish ties and ease a long-standing rivalry that fueled conflicts across the Middle East. A ceremony was held within the embassy's compound with dozens of diplomats and officials attending the reopening of the diplomatic mission for the first time in 7 years. In March, Iran and Saudi Arabia agreed, in a deal brokered by China, to end a diplomatic rift and re-establish relations following years of hostility that had endangered regional stability, including in Yemen, Syria, and Lebanon. Sunni Saudi Arabia severed relations with Shiite Iran following the storming of its embassy in Tehran in 2016 after a dispute over the execution of a Shiite Muslim cleric. The relationship had begun worsening a year earlier, after Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates intervened in Yemen's war, where the Iran-aligned Houthi movement had ousted a Saudi-backed government and taken over the capital Sana'a. The kingdom had also blamed the Islamic Republic for missile and drone attacks on its oil facilities in 2019, as well as attacks on tankers in Gulf waters. Iran denied the charges. Clashes erupted after Israeli forces mounted a rare raid into the Palestinian city of Ramallah in the occupied West Bank this week, in what the military said was an operation to demolish the house of an assailant. As per witnesses, a large military convoy arrived in downtown Ramallah, the seat of the Palestinian government, leading hundreds of Palestinians to gather in the area. Some Palestinian youth hurled stones at the Israeli forces, who fired live bullets, stun grenades and tear gas at the crowd. Trash bins that were set on fire blocked roads as ambulance sirens wailed. The Israeli military said its forces were operating in Ramallah to demolish the residence of the terrorist who carried out the bombing attack in Jerusalem last November. Israel has said the policy of demolishing homes of perpetrators is both punitive and a deterrence to potential attackers. The Palestinian Health Ministry said at least 158 Palestinians have been killed by Israel since January. Israel's foreign ministry said 20 Israelis and 2 foreign nationals have been killed in Palestinian attacks in the same period.
And today in our cultural section, we'll take you on an expedition to witness the finest aspects of the nature. The Bilimora-Waghai narrow gauge train in Gujarat takes on through diverse topography, stunning flora and fauna and breathtaking landscapes. This train route stretches from Bilimora in Navsari district to Waghai, traversing lush forest and a Saputara hill range, providing passengers with an awe-inspiring spectacle. Let's take a look.
India has emerged as one of the biggest tourist destinations around the world. From age-old architectural marvels to lush green forests, each region in the country offers a one-of-a-kind experience to all travel buffs. Running for the last 111 years, the Bilimora-Vagai narrow gauge train has always been a center of attraction for tourists. The train runs between Bilimora in Navsari district of Gujarat to Vagai in the southern part of Gujarat and provides a breathtaking view of dense forests, lush green flora and brooks.
Urban center से आते हैं, so it is quite obvious what is happening here. I mean, this is green patch. Normally you don't see anywhere. Very few tracks are like that. And first time this vista, I don't know, this narrow gauge and vista, it's a new combination. So it's good, impressive.
The train passes through the picturesque views and the Saputara hill range and leaves the passengers spellbounded. During monsoon, when the sky is covered with blue clouds, the train passes through a bridge, providing a mesmerizing view for the passengers to remember. The 62-kilometer track of this route was laid by the British at the instance of the Sayaji Rao Gaikwad in 1913. It was to be a part of Gaikwad's Baroda State Railway, the railway line owned by the princely state of Baroda, ruled by the Gaikwad dynasty. The train passes through a total of 9 stations, including those of Gandevi, Chikhali Road, Kala Amba, Unai, Dholi Kua and more. Passengers and tourists rejoice the journey as they take their time out from the urban lives of relishing the beauty of nature.
बहुत बढ़िया है। अभी मैं आने वाला है उससे पहले बहुत बढ़िया है। मैं कोविड पहले से प्लान कर रही थी ये ट्रेन में आने के लिए, तो मुझे बहुत ऐसे है कि नहीं मैंने जाना है। मैंने यूट्यूब देखा, फिर सब लोग का फोटोज़ देखा, तो वही से मुझे ऐसा है कि नहीं मुझे ये ट्रेन में मुसाफरी करनी है और मुझे एंजॉय करना है मेरे फैमिली के साथ। तो एटमॉस्फेयर आज बारिश का है तो बहुत बढ़िया है। क्या है कि बारिश आ रही है, मैंने बहुत सारे फ़ोटो खींचे, फैमिली के साथ है, ब्रदर सिस्टर है, पेरेंट्स है, बाहर बहुत बढ़िया सीनरी आ रही है, तो बहुत बढ़िया है यार। एटमॉस्फेयर तो बहुत बढ़िया है, बारिश भी मौसम बहुत बढ़िया है।
In order to add to the experience of the passengers, the train includes an air-conditioned Vista Dome coach for spectators to enjoy the beautiful views in a much comfortable way.
लोगों के पास से भी सुना कि ये ट्रेन में सफ़र करने वाले की संख्या अभी बढ़ गई है। बढ़ गई इसलिए कि उसका न्यूज़पेपर में, चैनलों में जब न्यूज़ आया तब से लोगों को जिज्ञासा हो गई। अभी ये एक कोच लगता था, आज 2 कोच लगाए हैं। लोग सैटरडे संडे एवरी यहाँ प्रवास करते हैं। और हमें भी इच्छा हुई हमारे दोस्तों के साथ में, हम देखो आज पूरा कोच भरा हुआ है हमारे दोस्तों के साथ में, तो हम इसमें सफ़र कर रहे हैं, देख रहे हैं हम तो ग्रीनरी, मोर दिख रहे हैं, सब आजू बाजू में, बहुत मज़ा आ रहा है।
Apart from serving as a big tourist attraction for the scenic beauty of the area, the train is also an important means of transport for local tribals for transporting their elegantly crafted bamboo works.
Well, there are a number of Indian Railway routes that provide a more touristic experience than just a journey. With that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Goodbye and take care.